we're going to do a science experiment today. I'm just going to adjust my camera a little so that you can see all my things. Now, the first thing I'm going to put on is my thinking cap. If you have one at home, suggest you find your thinking cap and put it on. Now, we are going to need just a few things for this experiment. An egg, a container, preferably one that you can see from all the sides, some vinegar. It's okay if you don't have this much. We just need enough vinegar to cover the egg inside of the cup. And a notebook and something to write with, because you, the scientist, are going to need to make some observations. Don't worry if you can't write, you can draw. Just need your pen and your notebook so that you can keep an eye on things. So this first step, you do not have to do at home. It's a little bit messy, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a look at what we're going to do. I have this egg right here. It's got this hard shell. And what happens if I drop this egg? Can you see what happened there? It cracked. I want you to remember that for the end of this science experiment, okay? So now what you have to do is very gently, we don't want to crack this one. We're going to take this egg and we're going to put it inside of our jar, just like that. And then we're going to take our vinegar and open it up. Oof. Open it up. And we're going to get just enough vinegar in so that it covers up the egg while it's there. So your egg is all covered up. Now, there's a couple of things you need to do right now. The first is jot down if you can write or get a grown-up to help you. What do you think is going to happen to this egg while it's inside of here? We're making some educated guesses. What do you think is going to happen to an egg that sits in vinegar? Then what I want you to do is I want you to put on your thinking cap and use your eyes to take a look at the egg and either draw a picture or write down some notes about what is happening to your egg right now. And then you're going to have to do the hardest thing. You ready? You're going to have to wait. I forgot to say this experiment takes some patience. So you're going to have to wait. And tomorrow when you get up in the morning, you're going to take a look at your egg and you're going to write down some notes again. And then later in the day, you're going to take a look at your egg. You might take one little finger in and have just a gentle touch of it. See if anything feels different, if anything's changing. And then you're going to go to sleep again and you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to see, write down some notes, take a look at all the sides, very gently touch your egg and write down what's happening. And then we will be back in, I'm going to say about 48 hours to have a look at whether or what is different about this egg compared to this egg. Well, hello. First off, got my thinking cap on again, and we're back here for day 2 of the egg science experiment. Now, it's been about 24 hours, and what I have here is my egg that's been sitting in the vinegar. What I have here is my notebook and my pen, because it's time to write down those observations again. Remember, we're going to take a look at all the sides, and then we're either going to draw a picture We're going to write down some words that describe what our egg looks like, how it looks different than it did yesterday. Remember, we can touch it ever so lightly. How does it feel? Now, for me, I can see there's a lot more bubbles, and the vinegar has something happening around the edges up here on my glass, like a foam maybe even. And as strange as this is going to sound, and I wish I'd measured when I started, but I think my egg is bigger. I also know that that hard shell that was on there yesterday, it feels soft and squishy, even a little bit mushy. So, the next thing I'm going to say to you is, your job now, you've got all your notes, you've got your notes from yesterday. Now I want you to write down, why do you think things are changing? What do you think is happening? If you need help, get someone to write them down with you or just hold them in your memory bank, because you're making some educated guesses. You're making some hypotheses. And soon you're going to be able to make some conclusions about what happens when you take one egg and you put it in a jar full of vinegar for not one, but 2 whole days. So congratulations on your patience. It's serving you well. What is it going to look like tomorrow? Alrighty, here we are with my fancy thinking cap on again. And our egg. Oh my goodness, does it ever look different? I don't know about yours, but mine looks so very different. I can bounce it now. Remember before when I dropped it and it exploded? Not anymore. Now I have a bouncing egg. And it's squishy. Look at that. Bouncy, squishy, and there's not a shell on it anymore. I wonder what your egg looks like. Now, this has been it. My egg has been in for more than 48 hours, probably 4 days. So if your egg doesn't look like this yet, you can drop it back in that vinegar. But I wanted to talk a little bit about, from my notebook, the things I watched, the things I saw, and the things I learned. So in the beginning, when I noticed all these bubbles were on my egg, do you know that's because the chicken's egg, the shell around it, is made out of something called calcium carbonate, which is a whole bunch of little bits and pieces that make up this shell that keeps the egg all protected in case a little chick wants to grow inside of there. So back to the calcium carbonate. There's calcium carbonate in the shell, and then we put in our vinegar, which is a type of acid, and that acid reacts with the carbonate in the shell to make those little bubbles. Have you ever taken vinegar and baking soda and put them together, and it's that fizzly big reaction that makes carbon dioxide? The same thing is happening with your egg. The little bubbles that are going on the outside of that egg are the CO2, which is short for carbon dioxide, while the acid eats at the carbonate, which is similar to what's in baking soda, until that shell is gone. And once the shell is gone, because I don't know about you, but my egg looks bigger. Once the shell is gone, a whole nother process starts, which is called osmosis, where the vinegar moves across the semi-permeable, which means kind of has little room for things to move through it. The semi-permeable membrane of the egg, the osmosis of the vinegar, moves in and inflates your egg a little bit. So that's how your egg grew and started to harden. And because it's harder, the membrane is harder now, not like the brittle shell, we can bounce our egg until it breaks, because it's still not perfectly unbreakable. But that is how you take your egg from a brittle shell into a harder surface so you can bounce it until it breaks.